This conference will now be recorded.
All right, happy Monday. It is March 25th. We have 1 week of March left, March trading left. And so far this morning, things, not too much out there, but we definitely have a decent show of hand in a few different things. So let's get into it. So first thing I'm going to be looking at is CRIS. Coming into this morning, we have some decent buying that came in right at that 250 level as well as underneath that 3. So if we look right here, you can see basically right underneath 3, 299. We didn't really get any type of prints at 3, which I really would have liked to see. But overall, we definitely have that buying up top. So based off of all the variables that we always talk about on these cheaper stocks, what we're going to need it to do is to be able to hold basically right here. So right at about 240, 243 area is going to have to hold in order for this thing to be able to come back up. But like I said, I mean, I really would have liked to see some of those prints come in at that 3 level, but we do have that buying up above. So as long as we can hold that level right there, which unfortunately these 250 prints is not a good sign at all. But if we are able to hold, so basically what it's going to look like now is that we're probably going to get a little bit of a pop up before we do fall underneath, which, like I said, just not a good sign. But we're going to be looking for a trigger towards that upside. And overall, it really would have been a lot higher of a percentage trade for a trigger towards that upside if we did have those prints at 3. But we do have a little bit of buying, so we're going to see what happens as we come back in. Just don't be fooled, because as of right this second, based off those 250 prints on the bid side of things, when it does pop up, it's probably not going to be a longer term trade. It's probably going to be a very, very quick trade. So keep that in mind. Next thing looking at is NCTY. So it has prints at 5, but what I'm actually more interested in is this Lakers colors that we have right here. And we see this quite often, and especially as of lately, we've been seeing these things come in almost right at 8 o'clock in the morning. But our lowest that we have is 425, and the highest that we have is 489. So what we're going to be looking for is for it to be able to get back up above that 425 level, and we're going to be bullish above and bearish below, because based off of the prints at 8 o'clock, we certainly have a lot of money that came back into this. But overall, what's going to have to happen is it's going to have to break up above that that 491 level, and then pop up above 5. And keep in mind as well, we do have prints at that 5 that came in about 7 o'clock in the morning. So we have the buying up above. It's just going to show us, once we get above the highest point of this. I mean, the best way I could explain it is Laker colors. We have below the bid, we have above the ask. It's just a very weird principle. We see that very often at 8 a.m. So as long as we can get back up above, we should have no problem breaking above the 5 level. And then MU has a beautiful show of hand that came in this morning. If we look right here, look at these prints that we had at 4150 as well as 4162. So someone came in and really kind of unloaded a huge amount of shares here. So based off of that, 842, we already kind of popped up. I would have expected a little bit more, but MU isn't really a huge mover. On average, moves about $1.50 a day. So overall, we should see a little bit more of a pop-up. I really would have liked to see it get to 42 before we end up coming back down underneath that 4150. And then one thing I do have on my side list is CYCC, and the only reason I do have it on my side list is because we have this 31,000 share print line here at 105, and it is holding pretty well. We do have some decent buying, pretty much throughout. The one thing is it's not going to be a huge mover. I mean, the range is way more than it typically moves. You can see right here, it only moves about 7 cents a day, so it's not. It has the variables for it to be able to take, to come off this print line and bounce back up. But it's once again, it's on the side list because I don't really expect it to make any type of real big move. But I'm going to keep an eye on it, especially being basically a dollar stock. It certainly has the ability to get back up, and especially if we get a runner on that, I mean, the percentage is going to be huge, even if we move about 50 cents. So going to be keeping an eye on that one as well. One other thing, well, we'll take a look at Apple. So Apple's been moving up this morning. Its volume I'm not sold on it. We could see right above that 192 level, we started getting some selling. We had one print that came in at 192 on the bid side. But this entire move that it made this morning, pretty much from 190 all the way up to 193, really doesn't have too many bigger prints that came into it. So I'm really not sold on that at all. And one other thing is NVDA. So if we remember from our classes last week, when we were coming down towards that 175, we have a huge amount of buying at 175. We have a huge amount of buying at 174. But if we go back a few days ago, you'll remember that when we were coming down 172.87, I believe, was the number. We had a print line there, but it came down to 173, and it just was not even close to enough of a pullback for the amount of buying that we had at 173 and 174. So I still am expecting this thing to be able to pull back underneath that 173 level a lot more than what we've seen so far. And the one thing about it is that when we came down to 173, and for some, it's not letting me go all the way back, but when we came down to 173, it actually hit 173, and that was it. And we didn't see any type of market maker come in there and kind of drop it before we got that huge pop that came back up. So I do not believe in any way that they're done, they're building their shares, because the market maker didn't come in and try to steal that money from retail at that 173. So just keep that in mind as we're watching. I mean, we have a bunch of 177.50 prints, which came in on the weekend, but even with this move and starting to come towards that upside, we could see it hit that 177.50 at 418 and it just didn't have any real prints that came into it. So 175, everything's below the bid. It hasn't really given us any type of show of hand yet, but I'm certainly going to be watching based off the information that we have from last week. What about BA? So BA is interesting because it's a stock that you're going to be able to trade always. Okay, on average, it moves $9 down. Keep in mind, based off of what happened with the, all those flights, it's moved a lot more than it usually would. So I wouldn't really use 9. I would bring it down to maybe 5, $5 somewhere in that area. But overall, there's really no prints that came in this morning that show us anything. 365.50, it had 2,200 shares, but that's not enough for me to even think about trading a $365 stock. All right, guys, anything else out there that I missed? I'm pretty sure that's it. There's not a ton going on, but, at the same time, we definitely have some good setups out there for us to be looking at. All right, guys, so one other thing. Remember, Traders Exchange tomorrow, 12:30. So TE at atc.trade. Let's make sure that we start thinking about what questions that we have, anything that happens today within our trading, anything that happened last week. Let's make sure like I said, we think about the questions and topics that we're going to be asking, and we will begin at 12:30 Eastern time tomorrow. All right, guys, so I will talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.